On May 2nd, get ready to escape. Isis, Escape from Transylvania. The goddess next door and John Haynes must escape a horde of vampires on the hunt in this horror-filled Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Escape from Transylvania in paperback and e-readers May 2nd. I was watching a Mr. Superboy 222 video, and he was talking about how almost every week 3 to 4 white females are caught participating in some sort of racist or egregious behavior, whether it be making a racial slur against black people or some other ethnic group, or them going out here and making some sort of unsubstantiated sexual harassment or sexual assault claim as part of this Me Too or Time's Up movement, or them participating in some sort of sexual abuse or sexual violence against a teenage boy, like many of these white female teachers have been participating in lately, or one of these females participating in racial profiling, like the manager at Starbucks in Philadelphia, or them going out here and participating in murder, like a white female did in Florida, where she murdered her husband and another woman and then decided to assume the other woman's identity. It seems like almost every week, 3 to 4 white females participate in some sort of irresponsible, reckless, and egregious behavior. And I believe that this is partially karma coming back to white America because 50 years ago, the white feminist movement came to the black community and told black women that they were women first and then they were black second, and then liberal politicians then enabled dysfunctional behaviors in black women where they believed they could literally do whatever they wanted. Now, when it came down to black females in the black community, they neutered many of their men by going out here and calling 911 because all a black woman had to do was have a disagreement with a man over the toilet seat, and she knew she could just punch in 3 numbers and a white knight would come and take this black man to jail, all based on her word. And I look at how they enabled that dysfunction in the black woman, and I see how it directly correlates to the white woman, because many of those white males, they thought it was funny when black men were being arrested for domestic violence, and they couldn't do anything to control the out-of-control behavior of black women in their communities due to the policies they created to restrict the rights of black men, but they couldn't see the bigger picture as related to their own women and their own behaviors. Yeah, those guys laughed at black men as they were getting arrested, and they laughed even harder when they were watching these videos of white girls gone wild. Because I remember that video series that came out back in late 1999 and the early 2000s, where we had all of these white females out here flashing their breasts, shaking their butts, and participating in all sorts of lewd behavior. And the white guys thought that it was cute when the girls were going wild, but what they're now being disgusted with are the women running amok in 2018, because all the girls who went wild back in 1999, the college co-eds, and all the little pretty girls that the guys thought were so cute, they thought it was fun when they were going wild, and they thought it was fun when they enabled that behavior in their females. But now in 2018, when they have women running amok, they don't see those behaviors as cute anymore. And the reason why many of these white males no longer find her behavior cute anymore is because they finally understand the old African proverb. And the old African proverb states that a race can rise no higher than the moral position of its women. And as your woman goes, so goes your race. And when it comes down to the white female, her moral position is so low that it is driving the white race into the gutter. And many of these white males are now starting to see that in their efforts to destroy the black community by corrupting the black female, they have enabled the decline of their own civilization because they do not know how to deal with their female, and they don't know how to check the out-of-control behavior of their female. Now, the big problem with most of these beta white males is this. These beta white males created a covert contract with these feminists and these other dysfunctional females in that they would give the females a pass for their irresponsible, reckless, racist, and egregious behaviors if they could get the opportunity to have sex with them. However, what has happened over the last 50 years is that females have gotten a majority of the jobs in the American economy, and they have a majority of votes in the American society. And because they have a majority of things in society as related to economics and politics, they have decided they don't want to participate in the covert contract with the beta males anymore. And because they don't want to participate in the covert contract with the beta males anymore, they have decided to restrict the rights of the white male in the same way black women restricted the rights of the black male with the help of white male police officers and white male prosecutors and white male law enforcement. So this is one of the ways karma has come back to the white male, because in his efforts to try to emasculate and humiliate the black man and restrict his rights, now his own woman is going out of her way to try to restrict and limit his rights as she begins to try to impose gynocentric Jim Crow on the white male. Because when it comes down to the white female, one of the reasons why she has run amok is due to the beta white males creating that covert contract, and creating that covert contract where they believe they would get sex for giving her a pass. But now that she sees that she has all the money and all the control, she no longer wants to participate in that deal. And now, as the girls gone wild have turned into the women running amok, most of these men are sitting there wondering what they're going to do to deal with this female. Now, it's clear to me that the American female is run amok, and she's wreaking havoc in American society. And somebody has to do something to check this female, because when you have females believing that they can go out here and make unsubstantiated claims against men of sexual harassment and sexual assault, when you have women thinking that they can go out here and sexually abuse young boys, and when you have women out here making racial slurs, there is clearly something wrong with your society, and that shows that these women really need to be hard checked, because as men, God made men to be the leaders, and if men do not take their God-given role as leaders, they're not going to have a civilization for long, because as these females continue to wreak havoc in your society, they're going to continue to use the victim position as a way to get more and more for themselves, not thinking about how their actions reflect on the whole society. Because when it comes down to a lot of these females, they want to go out here and participate in these behaviors, then hide behind the victim position, and then you have the enablers making excuses for them, and then what that does is it weakens the whole moral fabric of your society. And it says a lot about American society and how weak it is, because the man is supposed to be a reflection of the woman. And if your woman is out of control, then it says that the man himself is out of control. And this is why, as I see it, when it comes down to the American man, he really has to do something to check the behavior of the American female, because the American female's behavior has become so out of pocket and so egregious that there really has to be something done to deal with her behaviors. Now, I look at the MGTOW movement, it's not a movement, the MGTOW philosophy, and it's one of the things that's being done to deal with this out of pocket and out of control behavior. But I believe men are going to have to start doing more to stand up to these females, because we really need guys to start getting their backbones, start getting their stones, and start pushing back against all of these females and their irresponsible, reckless, racist, and egregious behaviors. Because if you wanted equal rights, then you have to take equal responsibility. Because if we're going to have any sort of standards for a civilization, then people need to be held equally responsible and equally accountable, and women should not be allowed to use the victim position if they're going to go out here and participate in behaviors
that hurt men and hurt the whole society overall, because the culture that these white females are teaching to young girls is that they can do whatever they want without being responsible for it, and they can get away with whatever they want. And that's just reprehensible when you think about it. Here you are, you've gone from teaching a culture of racism and white supremacy to teaching a culture of gynocentrism and feminism, and that culture of gynocentrism and feminism teaches girls that they can just run roughshod over people and have no responsibility whatsoever. And I believe that men really need to start stepping up, standing up, and standing up for themselves, because all most women have is a loud mouth, and you are the authority figure that God created and put over the earth. And for you to allow this woman to put you in a position of submission when you have the position of dominion really shows that you really do not understand your role as a man, and you do not understand your value as a man in God's natural order. Because when it comes down to men, they really need to start understanding their value as men. They need to start understanding their worth as men. And they need to understand that as a man, God made you to be the leader, He made you to be the head, and He made you to deal with this female and put her back under God's natural order. Because in God's natural order, it is God, Jesus, man, and woman. And if your woman is over you, then you're not going to have anything but chaos. And you really need, if you really want to have a civilization, you're going to have to deal with this female and her out of pocket behavior. Because the more out of pocket behavior she participates in, the more crazy behavior she participates in, the worse it makes the whole society look, because it makes the society look like the men have no control over anything, and that makes the country look weak, and that makes it look ripe for invaders, and it makes it look ripe for rogue nations who will look at America and say, because they can't control their women, we can take control over the country. That's why I believe we desperately need a hard check of many of these females, because as these girls have gone wild and have become the women who've run amok, I believe that there really needs to be something done about this sooner rather than later, because if we don't do anything about it now, there won't be an America later on. If you'd like to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon by clicking the link in the description box. And if you want to try some of my SJS Direct titles, you may do so by clicking the link to Amazon.com. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, subscribe.